This is the What I Need podcast, a shared journey exploring topics of society, spirituality, and even ways of being. Here, we speak freely and fully, from the heart and the conscious mind, in hopes to find what we need. Thank you, for your time is valuable and you could have been anywhere else in the universe. All of you are welcomed and appreciated here. Hello and welcome to the What I Need podcast. It is your host, King Karlton. Hi everybody, I hope you're doing well. Yes, I do. And I'm bringing you a very special episode today. It's actually Labor Day, Monday, September 2nd, 2024. This is going to be a little bit different episode. Some of these episodes that have been featured on this first season of the What I Need podcast have been previously recorded. And yeah, I mean, from time to time, in my last stretch of time in California, which was very interesting, I would record whatever I was having on my mind at the time, and a lot of the times it would be just interesting things. It's kind of the same things that, same concept as how I'm doing it now. Trying to bring up topics that can have to do with self-care, self-awareness, societal awareness. This is definitely a societal awareness episode. And I know from time to time we talk about climate change, wars that are going on around the world, AI, and kind of the implications that those things are, well, aside from AI being a definite good or bad, war and lack of self-awareness. I guess I must say I feel it is a heavy detriment to survival. Just because it seems that it is. I'm not gonna lie, this is a pretty heavy episode, but just go ahead. We're gonna get into the previously recorded portion here. This was kind of, I called it a download. I called it a epiphany monologue, whatever you want to call it. And I think it just happens to those of us that are in tune with intuition, those of us that definitely write music, tap into inspiration quite often, as I've done over my time doing music. So this, instead of it being a piece of music that came up, it was a epiphany style monologue. And it's not a theater thing. It is a piece of information at the time that I felt was worth recording. So without further ado, we'll get into it. This is All in All. Thank you. Yeah. 2:58 Wednesday. I'm beginning to wonder, like, chronologically, where we are on the timeline. Because I believe, not that it's the end times, but I do think it's the times before that. Like, this is the turnabout time. I look at the way the world is moving. We've already made the biggest bombs that you can have in things, the war machines, the innovations of cars and how to pollute the earth fastest. It's time to either make a resurgence back to following the lead of nature and its perfect design, figuring out how to make science do what it's really supposed to do, and make these inventions that can really be sustainable. A lot of times people, they drive a car and they only need to drive it to work or around the city. That could be replaced with a vehicle that only goes 40, 50 miles per hour and is all electric. You don't really need to always travel 50 miles a day, most people. And I don't think when they made cars, I don't really think they thought of that. This might sound ridiculous, but it also may have saved a large part of the percentage of our ozone layer, which is essential to all life. The problem is still growing at an exponential rate. And last week, I see, I don't know, it tells me what air quality is. Air quality is usually at a solid medium. How is that okay? I'm noticing the norms and the quality of life. Well, not for me. I feel like I'm manifesting a quality of life and the adventure that I've told God I've wanted from day one, which is to be a creative, do for Him, and also to be able to travel and make a living off of my creativity. I'm just about there. I've asked for this years ago. And I didn't go to school for it. In fact, the school I was going to go to and pay $80,000 shut down a few years after I would have graduated. Not leaving their accreditation completely for naught, but also not cute. I'm still doing that, what I wanted to do, regardless of those situationalities in life. So God carried it through, to me, is what that means. It's one thing to wish for it in high school. It's another thing to actually do it. It's another thing to incorporate it as an LLC. It's another thing to say, now I'm actually going back to school for business. I thank God. Those are the good things. I'm acknowledging the good things. I'm acknowledging the dark things that God has brought me through, at least mentally, and actually as a whole so far. Things that I know most people do not survive. And it's amazing. I feel like I'm defeating something that a lot of people didn't think was defeatable without probably medication, which I did that with ADHD already. Defeated that. Spirituality. I mean, people say you need a therapist. I didn't have money for that. I didn't have the coordination for that. I started praying. Things started getting better, at least more understandable. At least I could get away from some of the things that was hindering me and being a distraction, being a toxic distraction. We all go through those, although people will lie to you and tell you that they've never, ever been through any of those. So don't feel bad. Don't beat yourself up. Try to find a solution. Pray on it and try to find a solution. They're not going to find a solution for you. God is. He will always find a solution for you if you ask for one. And if you believe it for real, He will. And the reason I know is because He has, and literally that time I was going to die, and said, lift my hands up and say, oh God, please don't kill me. He made sure those people didn't kill me right in front of my eyes. I give him the accolade. I don't say, oh, well, they probably had a different course of action. No, the boys had knives and they was ready to use them and they were not fucking playing. So neither was God, thank goodness. And I think we have to look at these things in our life as not a coincidence, because you look at it as a coincidence, that's actually an insult. That's rude as hell. If somebody, did something and they really, they want to be acknowledged, even a person. So what a king, a God, of course, the God, like the only one and only, of course he wants acknowledgement too. And he's making everything in your life go good. Oh yeah, do it please, because that's not, I don't understand. I think a lot of people do thank God, but they don't really thank him and be like, you know what, wow, acknowledging the fact I would not be able to have made it through X, Y, and Z moment, made it to X, Y, and Z point, made it through with the kids, the dog, the husband, the divorce, the death of mom, the death of dad, if it wasn't for him. And then don't get a couple months away from the topic at hand and feel like, oh, well, he helped me through that. Now he's done helping me, or he's gone off into the ether. He's not over here right now. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to yourself. He doesn't do that. He does that I guess he does that if you do that to him. But he has no reason to do that. He's an omnipresent being. That means he has the ability to be everywhere and is everywhere all at once. And you don't have to know how, and you don't have to have a scientific equation for how, because he's God and he can do the impossible. That's all you need to know. He can make whatever possible. He said, let there be light. He said, read the book of Genesis. You'll see how, he's not really confined by physics or math or sciences. He created those things, so he's not confined by them. He made them so you could understand your little world buzzing around you at some point when you got to the point where you could figure it out. Still, I'm not a scientist. I guess I'm more of a philosopher. So the how, that's for God to answer one day to the people that are so nosy that they need to know how. I think in the present moment, when something hits you, or intuition, or an anointing, even a miracle, you don't sit up. I just don't see the value in sitting up and questioning it. How? Well, what? How? Okay, so what? And when you figure out how, what are you going to try to do? Replicate it? Oh, so you want to be like those Tower of Babel people that got destroyed for trying to copy God. No, there's no even reason for you to know how. Just accept it and do something good with it, your best that you can, and acknowledge where you got it from. That's, I think, the best thing people could do with the unexplainable anything. Because I had to ponder that a lot after my DR trip. Well, why did he save me? Or why did he make sure that these boys didn't slice me or cut my finger off or kill me? Why? I hadn't been feeling that deserving of a whole new lease on life. I felt like I was actually kind of getting stagnant and wondering, what more is there for me to do? Other than music. I mean, I never get tired of music, thank God. He gave me that, so I never get tired of music. But yeah, I think there's going to be an entering of a time frame where a lot of people are going to be asking how, and then a certain portion of the community is just going to be doing the work, using the gifts, using their knowledge, using their discernment, using their compassion, using their newfound understanding to do the work. And then others are going to be saying, how. But the more they sit in the how section, the more they're going to be left out of benefits and do reward for most, or do grace, whichever one. Some people will be rewarded, some people will get grace, some people will get mercy. Some may, I guess, be punished. I don't really think about that, because it's not up to me. Thank God. I don't have to worry about punishing people. I'm not here to be a punisher. I'm not here to tell people how damned they're going to be, because I'm literally not the Grim Reaper, and nor would I want it to be. That does not sound fun. It sounds like, yeah. So I think we should also focus on not being a Grim Reaper type person. We don't have to be. That's not our job. We're not dragging people to hell. We're not enforcing judgment. We don't have the ability to do that. And also, God gets very mad when people try to do his job. Very mad. And then he gets mad when other people are claiming that a different thing can do his job. So all this stuff about AI, I'm not sure he's cool with certain things that are happening and going to happen with consciousness that's making its own decisions. It just sounds like something from hell, to be honest. It sounds literally like something that's going to be hellish, that's going to wreak havoc on the earth. A machine that does a job that's, a positive, productive job is fine. Why does it need to make its own decision? Does the hammer the nail by itself? Does the wheel turn, what direction it wants to? Tools are supposed to be simple, not people. We keep pushing this virtual reality and virtual realm when really we're supposed to be lifting the veil on the one that we're in. So that's a distraction. We're supposed to be lifting the veil eventually. And it doesn't have to be today, but let's think goal-wise, just because it's biblical doesn't mean it can't be a goal to get to a certain place. Overall, community-wise, I don't think that it's a bad thing to have goals in places that you eventually want to get to, because obviously we're not there immediately. It takes time. So anyway, in regard to having goals and still thinking and taking biblical times and just readings and anything that's historical, even seriously, where was I going to go with that? I'm multitasking. But I definitely want to record this down, because people would never believe the shit that crosses my mind. And it's not even shit. It's literally what I believe we should ponder on a more healthy basis, a larger scale, because you only got one life, one world, and one mother. It's true. It's not just a song. It's not just to be cute every time. A lot of times we're trying to really say something, and a lot of times it's going over people's head, and I wish it not to, because it's been going over people's heads so long that now a lot of the music on the radio is drug induced to the point where y'all don't care how much your kids are talking about taking drugs. And then they talk about it, and then it's such a normalized thing. And then they start doing it when they get a little bit older. Let me tell you, that's not what you want. It's a multiple drug taking son or daughter, influenced by music that was in their middle school until high school, and then what happens in college and after that. You do the math for yourself, and you can also, I don't have kids, so you can also deal with whatever the truth of that is. If it's not, congratulations. Nobody's wishing bad on you, but at the same time, are you thinking? Are you using your brain? Are we ensuring good things, or just kind of hoping that maybe a good thing will happen? I think we have to ensure our own good things to happen. Put the effort in. God don't help somebody that can't help themselves, right? Okay, so then push it along. Push it along with him. Don't just stand by and watch. Don't just stand by and let systems create status quos that you're so comfortable into that you're going to watch this again, a situation again, where nothing is fixed. Everything is just ball and chained and medieval timed. Same thing that the founding fathers ran away from. They just put it on the lower, poorer people, and then the rich people are good. So we are a classist community by way of wealth which is collapsing. Things are going to get really mixed up, and all the things that people thought mattered so much, it's not going to matter as much. It's not going to count for as much. All the materialistic, all of the popularity contests, all of the judgmental, you're not even going to have time to care about that. Maybe for better or for worse. Maybe it's a change. Maybe it's a turn of events that forces people to really focus in and actually focus for real on like the things that matter this time, because it may be the last time to get it right. The government's not getting any more solid. The dollar's not getting any more healthy. The earth is not getting any more healthy. The food is not getting any more healthy. The ocean is not getting any more healthy. Why? What is the government so busy doing that they can't ensure that that is exactly what's happening to this entire planet that we've entrusted them continent-sized chunks of, to make sure that this whole world is basically not just spinning in chaos? And they got time to go to war. For what? For what? Resources. Divide that shit up, monetize however you need to do. There's no war. Everybody already has a chunk of the land that's whatever belongs to them but really belongs to God. Stop it. Literally. There's going to be people that do not want a message like this spread by a person like me. Doesn't matter what people want anymore. God's going to start doing what he wants. meaning irregardless, is going to happen. If you get in the way, there's examples in the Bible of what happens to people. And also, people are going to be called to do things, and if they don't accept from him, you have your own personal relationship, it may not be good either. Maybe I would have died in Dominican Republic if in 2020, a year beforehand, I didn't devote my rest of my being to whatever he wants me to do in the way that he wants me to do it. I promised him that I want to give darkness a run for its money, and I want to fuck it up. And you can use me, and you can use my vessel to do whatever you want, to play for your team, and to do whatever you need. Move through me. And please give me music, please. And that doesn't mean fame. That just means music. And that just means the joy of playing music, listening to music, singing music, producing music. And he has. Yeah, our little conversations go well, and our little deals or whatever. Everything's good over here. Like, I'm not worried about how God sees me, because I know as many times as he saved me, oh my goodness, he must be very fond of me. But also the things I want to do, and he knows the things I want to do, and he knows the truth telling things that he would prefer people to focus on, rather than something that's been put in place by something other than him, and just hyped up to be some kind of structure that's similar to God, but it's nothing like him at all. This is why I can't speak on Twitter and Instagram, and I can't say things how I really would like to say them, because I think they're already trying to come after me in a way. But again, it's not, they're not in control. They are tinker toys in the grand scheme. Walls will move themselves out of the way. Doors will open with nobody even on the other side of it or in front of it. Lights would turn off without a hand hitting the switch, turn off or on. Murderers will be stopped dead in their tracks. I'm ready to experience what God has next. I'm ready to experience the next miracles that God has next. I'm ready to experience the next miracles that God has next. I'm not going to acknowledge that. I'm ready to see more. Because what I've seen already is amazing. This book that I'm getting ready to write, I don't even know. It's not even really about that. That's just something I want to do. But God's great. He's gotten me through each and everything. He doesn't want you to be scared of anything other than not pleasing him. And even that, you're not going to get everything right. Just have an aim and have an idea of your purpose, and move towards it with purpose. No one wants a purposeless hater, because that's what happens when people get outside their purpose. They just start hating. They don't know what else to do. They got all this aloof energy. They got all this I don't know type energy, and then they start hating. hate is not what he wants you to do, or else he would have said that. Again, are you sitting up here claiming one thing and doing something completely different, unbeknownst to you? Let's say it's unbeknownst. Let's say you didn't even know and start over. I didn't realize I was doing that, but I was doing that. I didn't realize I was more focused on being an earthly a-hole than a holy child of God. Which do you want to be? You're literally making a choice every second that passes by. And he's watching your moves and mine. We talk though. Okay, so that was the episode. All in all is what I had entitled it, as a kind of big conclusion to not conclusion. It's not a conclusion. It's kind of a transitory situation. And I say that because it is a turnabout time, again, like I mentioned in the beginning of the episode, where we can make a decision to go a certain direction during this particular time. AI is on the horizon and technology is moving much faster. You know, we've gone from cassette tapes to streaming in the last decade or 15 years, maybe more than that now. Well, yeah, 2000. So, but anyway, when we did see that, even that transition from the early 90s to the 2000s, I mean, how fast we got to streaming was probably the quickest change in the music industry or audio industry that we've seen. We're going to see those type of things reflected in AR and VR technologies, because that's what the industry is focusing on. We're going to see those type of upticks and quickenings happen in AI, and that's just because it is a way of business and commerce and things. So, you know, I always like to end on a high note on these shows, and it's always supposed to be information or just shared ideas that you know, you could choose to say, what the hell is he talking about? That shit don't sound right. Or you could choose to do your research and look at what's going on. Because this is not situations they're going to talk about on the news. They're talking about current events on the news, current events, and not very important ones. Just the drama of the political election. Yes, we know who's running. Yes, we know their drama. Yes, we know their career history. Those things are not going to save the world. Those things are not going to be a contemplation that continues human society. So I just think that we're in a time of innovation that needs to happen, that needs to be cognized, thought about, tanked about from a aspect of empathy, compassion, and continuation, not just for one or two or three types of people, but for all of us here sharing the planet. You know, to what we do know currently, there's not one we can go to and reach, and it's not an option. That's not an option. So staying right here and figuring it out is actually the option. And I think we ought to look at it like this in order to find the solution. It's a great time to take up a purpose, maybe in your community, or even join a larger effort that affects region, nation, globally, environment. And it sounds kind of it sounds kind of like, wow, Karlton, you're asking us to take up a purpose that's large. Well, it's not me that's necessarily asking, but I think it's um, life that is asking all of us to consider this. And it's not a bad thing necessarily. I think coming out on the other side of that work, if it should be done, that we would enter into is it golden age? I think it would be a golden age that would be on the horizon next, meaning that we kind of reached the evolutionary plateau of, and I forgot just how that graph goes, but we are reaching to a evolutionary plateau in which, should we get past the hump of that, then we'd be in a really good position. Brief, very sloppy, whatever that was. So, yes, after we get over that hump there of innovation, of looking at the health of the world, also I think putting down so much attention and finances and monies and funds from our individual nations, militaries. We're so ready to fight each other. We've been so ready to fight each other and conquer each other for quite some time, and we've done that. We've actually, we've done a lot of that, and it may sound sappy or whatever. I don't know what it sounds like, but what I'm saying today is we've conquered the hell out of each other, and I think there's something else that now needs to occur that we ought to consider. I know I'm not the only one on the internet saying things such as this. It's not the first person that's brought this to awareness, so it's always good to have a reiteration of what is going on, not just from a mainstream news perspective, which constantly gives us I guess whatever sensational things that are very instant gratification type situations. Something that can be, there was a car accident over here, or there was this happened in a war here or there. And I know the concept of stopping all wars and things and making this grand peace treaty, at least with the major nations with the larger weapons. I don't know about how to stop indefinitely cartels that are running certain countries, small terrorist groups that are still extremist groups, I guess you would call them, that are causing havoc in certain places. I'm not sure how that would be absolved, but at least as it goes for major nations kind of puffing up and talking about we're going to pull the nukes out and this and that. It's really no longer time for that. It's insanity, unless they're trying to get it over with quick, and really, like, what's going on? So it's a good question to ask. I'm not trying to scare anybody, but I'm also not the one with the ammunition and allocation of trillions. So also vote, because this will help somewhat. It definitely won't do nothing. Vote, show your areas and whatnot that you care, that you're really ready for candidates that are thinking with compassion in mind, empathy in mind, a longer plan in mind that sets up foundations for not only just the very next generation, but like, can we get the next 10 generations accounted for? Because what we think so short-sighted, it's things are happening that are too short-sighted at times, I think, and we have so many capabilities, so much technology. We've come a long way with society in regards to racism and segregation. The segregation part really doesn't exist, at least here in America. But maybe even the systematic racism thing, the industrial complex thing that affects all of us, no matter what color you are. Other things, other detours in the system that really do not help and distract from progress really ought to be looked at in a different way. Again, with so much finance going to military because we anticipate fighting each other, we shouldn't be anticipating fighting each other as much any longer, especially if we consider ourselves modern society. There should be modern and advanced communication going on in order to not have those type of problems. We all live on the same planet at this point. We can fly around the planet in planes that we've made and things of that nature. So the connected vibe of like being able to go and visit this and that place should also throw some kind of and that's all at the top. I'm just trying to talk to you guys right now. The fact that we can do this travel and stuff should really also be a sign that we are just connected, and that we are just connected, and we are all on the same living plane that we have to share. We don't get to not share. We can't unshare the world. We have to share the world. We have to be here together. And that's the only option. We have to be here together. We get to be here together. And as soon as we start realizing that more so that we get to be here together, and we want to be a global family, then we start caring for the world, I think, as a global family instead of as separate nations that are still thinking about conquering each other somehow, even though why? What the fuck? Again, the local extremist type things, those are isolated issues to individual nations, and I guess bordering nations that have effects that have effects of being that close, and those groups. So I really, again, I acknowledge that, because I know some people hearing me say get rid of all war, they're like, you're never going to be able to get rid of all war. Well, we had better figure something out. It's a distraction at this point. It is not a way of life. It is not a supposed to be their thing. It is something that happened over the course of time, but it's not something that's always supposed to be going on, because guess what? If it's always going on, an eye for an eye was leaving everybody blind or dead. It's not rocket science. It is a concept that, when observed, certainly you're like, oh yeah, everybody does die. If it goes like that, yeah. So push yourself, if you have not yet, to pick up purpose. This is not a doomsday report. It's potentially it is, but it's not a doomsday report. But we are living in a very special time, I think, where individuals picking up purpose, you are being endowed somehow. You are being cared after somehow. You are being supported somehow, because planet needs you. The planet needs people right now that, like, nature itself, and well, I mean, I feel like we always need God, or we always need the Creator, because something put us here, and it created the beautiful earth, life, and I don't think its intention is for the life that was created to be destroyed in a fiery, terrible, violent way. I think it's for us to continue it forward in innovative and amazing ways, using the advancements that we have come across and created together, to continue together. So again, that's why I do mention things like racism, nationalism, colorism, industrial prison complexes, wars as targets to eliminate, actually systematic targets to eliminate, because they are distractions. We should have students in school for free, healthcare for free, focusing on holistic healing, focusing on technology that really acts like nature does, or sustainability, B Corp, something I've been put onto by some friends recently, and seems like they have a good idea about how to double check businesses are in it for the long run, and not just for their business but for the world. So this is not something, this philanthropy type vibe. It's not a philanthropy, or this recycle and save the world. Recycle and save the world type vibe. It's no longer just a cute idea in a blue box that you just feel cool to have. It's becoming more of a necessary thing, and glad to share that today, whether it seemed a little bit morbid or not, because it is true, and it is our job to steward the earth. I don't know what other things to reiterate about that, but it is our job. There's nobody. We're the human beings here, so the communication, the collaboration, the coming together is all up to us. And if we do not all come together, we may all fall apart. Somehow still have a good day. This has been Karlton and the What I Need podcast. See you. Thank you once again for tuning in to the What I Need podcast. This is your host, Karlton, letting you know this is a Function Presents exclusive. We encourage you to follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Function Presents. Also, we have our website, functionpresents.com. Before I go, I gotta tell you, I hope you find what you need, whatever that is, because you need it, apparently. Okay, bye.